I got no idea what to do for a cold open.
Rub-a-dub-dub, we're drinking Old Tub.
Welcome back to... No, you gotta say welcome back to Worth the Ram.
Welcome back to Worth the Tram. I'm Grim.
And I'm Red. This is your home for whiskey reviews, scrubbed opinions, and old-fashioned jokes.
That's a better
That's
one.
better. I think we're on the upswing.
Yeah. We're moving on up.
To
to the east side.
So we're looking at Old Tub today.
Old Tub.
Used to only be available in the Jim Beam distillery in like 250 milliliter bottles, and this is a now limited nationwide release. Uncut, unfiltered, bottled in bond, and it's the precursor to the Jim Beam white label we know today.
Very cool. It's also all right. So, for such a limited release, being available for, I think you said roughly about $20.
Yeah, 20
off
bucks
camera.
on
He
average.
said to me, not to you.
No, no, I didn't say it to you.
Before we go too much farther, this is another bottle
Yes.
that my mother has sent to us.
Thank you, Mama Grimm. I definitely appreciate it as the co-recipient. Definitely appreciate it. So thank you, Mama Grimm.
Yes, thank you again.
Old Tub, uncut, unfiltered. The only filtering this goes through is to remove wood particles from. So it is
Yeah, that's
uncut,
mildly filtered.
it's called screening. The process is called screening.
Okay.
So they screen wood particles out, and that's the only.
I mean, I imagined a screen being less dense than a filter.
Yes, I'm picking up what you're putting down. We have done one other Jim Beam whiskey, and that was Booker's.
You're forgetting the maple.
We did one other Jim Beam whiskey, and that was Booker's.
My mistake. My mistake.
We got more into the history of Booker No than we did of the Jim Beam family.
Yeah. So the Jim Beam family actually, like that, they have a very long history in the United States.
Yeah.
So I think they first arrived in the United States in 1746.
Yeah, from Germany. And Beam was spelled German spelling of Beam, so it was like Bohe. I wrote it down in my notes, but I didn't put it on the whiteboard. So
Okay.
I don't know how it was spelled, but it was like Bohem.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very German name.
Yeah. Jim Beam, 1746, or the
Yeah.
Beam family.
Beam family. They
Yeah.
moved to the Kentucky region of Virginia in 1788.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think about. So they have been in the United States, in Kentucky before Kentucky was a state.
Mm-hmm.
They were part of the Virginia, Virginia was huge at the time. 1780s?
1780s, Jacob Beam actually
Yeah.
started with a sweet corn whiskey made from leftover corn.
Yeah. So the U.S. government at the time was paying farmers to move out to Kentucky to plant corn. They farmed the land. It was awesome farmland.
Yep.
And awesome whiskey land.
And speaking of whiskey land, fun fact. Fun fact. By the 1800s, there were over 2,000 distilleries in Kentucky.
It's crazy to think about. Like, it's like every farmer out there that was growing corn was like, hey, I got a whiskey recipe.
Yep. Slap a patent and a label. But I mean, we did mention, especially in Kentucky, let's say Kentucky, Tennessee, like that whole region with Prohibition, a lot of those distilleries were just lost.
Oh, yeah.
Forgotten. And,
Yeah.
As we mentioned last week with Belle Meade, like there was this revival period where, the Nelson boys found their roots and brought it back up, but a lot of distilleries weren't so fortunate.
Yeah. The Beam family, Beam Distillery, made it through Prohibition.
Mm-hmm.
Jacob Beam was selling Jake Beam sweet corn whiskey
Yeah.
back in the 1780s, and that was a popular local brand at the time. And back then, there was no glass bottles. So when you wanted whiskey, you went to your local distillery, you brought your whiskey jug,
Mm-hmm.
and you dipped it into the tub of whiskey that was available. And you paid by the jug.
Yep.
So when David Beam took over for Jacob Beam, David Beam being Jacob's son.
So the name has changed over as each member of the family takes over. The name has changed, and Jim Beam has stuck and is arguably the coolest name, but because Jake Beam
is just, it sounds weird now.
Not to put too fine a point on it, but it's a dumb name.
So David Beam, his son, took over, and he foresaw the future. He foresaw bourbon is going to be the thing.
Yep.
So he grew the distillery. He grew their aging. He grew their rick houses.
Expanded.
He expanded.
That's the word you were
expanded. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yep.
And so in the 1820s is when he took over. 1840s is when the expansion was done. He renamed Jacob Beam to Old Tub.
Yeah, as kind of an homage to the way that people used to fill their jugs.
Yeah. And the distillery at the time was named Old Tub as well.
Yep.
So it was the Old Tub Distillery, which is, I think it's cool.
Yeah. So why don't you get to pouring?
I was going to say, we could go on for history.
We really could, yeah. I mean, this is the first time that we've actually really looked into anything Jim Beam. Well, no, I forget. I keep the Bookers.
I mean, Booker's was
we focused
really cool.
We focused more on Booker No than we did Jim Beam.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is granted we're still not really getting into Jim Beam, but
we're stopping in
we're circling the drain.
mid 1800s.
Yeah.
Because that's when it was named Old Tub.
Yep.
And since this is Old Tub, we're stopping there.
Yep.
Anyway, so there's a cork. I thought it was a screw top, but yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I like it.
It was good.
Yep. It's unfortunate that the pecan whiskey has like the front runner.
That is the best cork we have.
It was
done.
surprising, and it was very corky.
It was super corky.
Anyway, while Red's setting up, I do want to take a minute to remind everybody that we are still having a giveaway.
We are.
Our branded Infinity bottles. So please submit your pictures to Facebook, Instagram, or at infinitecontest@worththedram.com. You can check out our previous announcement for all the official rules and on our website. We're looking forward to seeing everybody's submission, but please.
Did you mention safe for work pictures and videos?
Please, safe for work.
We've only gotten a couple.
That one was surprising.
We appreciate it. We're flattered. We didn't know people could be that flexible.
It's true. Flattered. That's a word. That's a choice. Anyway, so I don't know if we've mentioned, but this is our first bottled in bond bottle.
I honestly can't believe it's our first bottled in bond bottle.
Yeah. So a little bit to focus on. We've mentioned a few times that whiskeys across the board have certain rules and regulations that they need to follow.
Yeah.
Bottled in bond is another label. It's another category that you need to meet certain criteria for.
Yeah.
So, according to a congressional bill dating back to 1897, there are 4 rules. Man. Oh, wait, episode 2. And we're sure it's 4 this time.
We're sure it's 4 this time.
All right, so there are 4 regulations that a whiskey needs to meet in order to be labeled as bottled in bond. So they need to be the product of a single distillation season.
Yeah. I think it's January to June or July to December.
Okay. I didn't know that time frame, but I'm glad that you did.
I wrote the notes. I wrote shorthand.
Yeah. So, second rule, they need to be aged 4 years in a government-supervised warehouse.
Hence the bonded.
Yes. Bonded. Bottled in bond.
In bond.
Bond. Bottled in bond. So, every single bib, as we've been calling them, as everybody in the whiskey community calls them, they have to be 100 proof.
100
50%
proof.
alcohol.
Yes.
By volume.
Yes.
Can't be 101, can't be 99.
100. 50 ABV.
Yep. If you got 99 proof, then
you don't have a
bib ain't one.
Yeah. That was good.
That was dumb. That was stupid.
That was good.
So they need to be labeled with the distillery and where it was bottled.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I'd say most already fit that anyway.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
But this came around, so this was the first Consumer Protection Act that the U.S. government ever passed. It was because at the time, whiskey was just extremely popular in the United States. And so people would color gin. They would color vodka. They would mix tobacco with vodka or tobacco with gin or turpentine to change the color.
Mm-hmm.
And people were getting sick and dying because they were buying this cheap whiskey with all these additives in. So bottled and bond was a guarantee of quality. And so that's kind of continued today, although people don't add turpentine to their whiskey anymore.
I would hope not. I mean,
However you like your whiskey, don't die.
I'm really not that big of a fan of turpentine.
I'm not either.
I gotta tell you though, on the nose, it kind of reminds me of an oakier Weller.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, no, I'm saying yeah. That's
Okay.
a question. Yeah.
Well, you didn't say it that way.
I'm sorry.
You just, it was like, yes.
That was a question. Yeah. Mash bill is 75% corn,
Mm-hmm. 13% rye and
12% malted barley.
thank you.
I know I have terrible handwriting.
I'm not gonna lie, like I'm getting almost like an undertone of like cola.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not Coke or Pepsi, but like RC.
Like RC Cola.
Yeah.
I get a little bit of that.
Which we do still have 2 restaurants here in town that only serve RC. They don't do Coke or Pepsi.
Oh, which two are they?
Well, it's the 2 El Molinito locations.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess one restaurant chain.
One chain.
Yeah.
There's others. Who has RC? Because I got Diet RC there.
Those are the 2 that I know.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
So on the nose is like classic bourbon for me. Just
This is all right. So that cola smell,
yeah.
it might just be like there's just that pumped up sweetness because this is like a sweet corn
Yeah.
brew.
There's not as much oak as I was expecting on the nose.
No?
Granted, it's only aged 4 years. But I've thought with it being unfiltered that there would be more of that oakiness in there.
See, I'm getting quite a bit of that.
I'm getting oak. I just thought it would be more oak. I guess what I'm saying. So I get sweetness first and then oak. What I was expecting when reading about it was oak and then sweetness.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just flip flopped.
Gotcha. And it might just be that higher percentage of barley that we've. I mean, because like I think the highest that we've seen so far is like overall maybe like 6 to 8%.
Yeah.
But that you think you said it was 12%.
12% barley. Yeah.
That gives it kind of like almost like a steaming bowl of oatmeal air.
I think we've described it in the past like graininess.
Grain, yes, yeah.
Where
And it's not a texture; it's just that
cereal grain.
Yeah, it's like cereal, oatmeal, bread. It all has that
Yeah.
that air trapped around it.
I almost get a peanuttiness in there.
Not nearly as much as like the Booker's. I mean, granted,
No,
I think
Booker's had a lot more, but
yeah, I think maybe a little bit more of like a peanut oil than like an actual peanutty.
yeah, just like a hint.
The nose really isn't that complex. There's something that's escaping me right now that I'm hoping comes to me in a bit, but I'd like to.
Well, let's taste.
Let's do it. Ooh.
There's definitely a little heat there.
That's another punchy one, yeah.
Yeah.
Right up front, but that fades really, really quickly.
Yeah. I get a lingering. So, the heat hit me first, and I kind of forgot that I was supposed to be doing a tasting.
Yeah, it's surprising for as sweet and kind of like soft as the nose is.
Yeah.
That's got a surprising punch to it.
Yeah. The finish is a sweet finish, short to medium.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's like a
Schmedium.
There's like a pepperiness there that I can't.
That's a good term.
Like
pepperiness. Yeah.
Like a.
You're like, ooh, there's that little bit of.
Yeah.
It's not really
that's
spicy. Pepper. Yeah, it's peppery. It's not really spicy. It's just peppery.
Yeah. It's just hot.
Tobacco, actually.
Tobacco?
So yes, nicotine has got a very peppery flavor.
Yeah.
And the only reason I'm back when I was a smoker, I never really noticed that.
Tasted anything?
Yeah.
Oh.
However, well, you're very right. Yeah. But then, I gave up smoking, and then I vaped for a couple years and then I gradually cut down my nicotine level. And I noticed that as I stepped down my nicotine, that pepperiness went away. I mean, tobacco was in the tasting notes, I believe.
I think you're right. It was.
So that's what you're picking up is a tobacco.
Tobacco-ness?
Yep.
Is tobacco-ness a word?
It is now.
It is now.
Tobacco-ness, worth the dram, trademarked.
Bam.
Copyright 2020.
Stamp.
This is one that I don't want to sip it. Like, I want to actually take, like...
A drink.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is a drinking bourbon.
Man, I get a lot of the classic bourbon flavor, so caramel.
Vanilla, yeah.
Vanilla.
I think, unfortunately, like, it's... I mentioned once that we keep kind of falling back on caramel and vanilla.
Yeah.
But every bourbon that we come across, that's kind of what we look for. That's going to be a standard. And if we come across a bourbon where we don't really get those flavors, it's going to be surprising.
Yeah, that stands out.
Yeah. But good on you. Good on you for picking up on that pepperiness.
I feel good now.
Yeah, that's.
I'm gonna add a little bit of water. I had a couple drinks now, so I'm gonna add a little bit of water.
It's a good call.
I don't know if I got.
Okay, Did you get anything? Should I be drinking?
I think you should.
All right, thank you.
How do you say anise?
I say...
anise or anise?
All right, so I've always...
I'm asking that question because I got that flavor after I added water.
Your wife.
Just so...
Your wife she's losing it at the fact that we didn't pronounce it a noose. Anyway. All right, Bellmead.
Old Tub.
Old Tub.
This is 10 more proof than Bellmead.
It does. You know what? It doesn't actually sip like it.
It doesn't. It's I don't know that I would have pegged this as 100 proof.
No, I don't think so.
On the sip, I'm really interested to do because we also have Evan Williams bottles in bond. We have Dickel bottles in bond.
Yep.
Pick up a couple more. I'm interested to do a blind flight.
Sorry, we had a friend go and buy the Dickel for
We
us.
did.
And I sent her the cash, and then it was PayPal, and you can add a note to it. And I said, "Hey, thanks for grabbing my Dickel for me."
It was Lori actually. She was on.
It was Lori. Yes, if you remember back to our Balvenie Caribbean cask, it was.
Yes, friend of the show, Lori.
Yep, she went and grabbed it for us.
She grabbed your Dickel.
She. So Old Tub.
Old Tub. After sitting 20 minutes now.
It's got like a Fruit Loops smell. Not Fruit Loops. Fruity Pebbles.
Fruity Pebbles?
Yeah. Sugary, fruity,
man.
sweet.
Yeah, it's like a sweet cereal.
Yep.
Yeah, sweet cereal. And that's all I can smell.
Yeah, sorry. I should have let you speak first.
Sweet cereal, still got some oak. That astringency from the proof is gone on the nose.
Yep. It's still a little spicy from that rye.
Spicy.
Yep.
But there's no, there's a little bit of rye in the mash bill. Never mind. I like it when we do a 90 proof whiskey followed by a 100 proof whiskey.
Yeah, I'm kind of a fan of just drinking whiskey.
Hey, you know what? That too. Speaking of which.
Still spicy.
Still got that pepperiness.
Yep.
But it's, this is going to sound rounder after sitting?
Maybe. I feel like this one kind of just held its own really well over the whole course of the nonsense conversations that we just had.
I think we had 20 minutes of sidebars where we went just, it was like a tangent tree.
Yep. Yeah, so the water, for me, doesn't bring that, for me, doesn't bring that spiciness down at all, but it brings the candied flavors up.
Yeah.
Which I think with bourbons we've found almost across the board.
Pretty consistently.
Yeah. No, honestly, like, I'm a fan of it. It didn't really change much between first and second glass. I'm a fan of just drinking this one. Actually, this is a drinking bourbon.
Yes.
Taking sips just didn't satisfy. Like, I actually really just wanted to drink it.
When I think, like, the first thing that comes to mind when I try to describe this is full. Like, it is full flavored.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
uncut.
Yeah. Well, it's not uncut. It's unfiltered.
No, it is uncut and unfiltered. It says it on the bottle.
Does it? Regardless, like, I think that's got like you're right. It's got a really, like, it's a full bodied.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's almost, I mean, I'm showing you just the bottle from the side now.
It's got a
little bit of cloudiness almost.
A little bit. Not nearly as much as, like, I mean, the Booker's a little cloudy. The pumpkin spice is the cloudiest that we've seen. But I mean, that one is just, I mean, that one's,
it's got actual pumpkin in it.
Yeah. Like that, yeah. That one's going to be cloudy. Anyway.
Yeah. So for $20, I definitely think this is one that punches above its weight a little bit.
It's a hell of a whiskey.
Like I said, just kind of full-bodied.
Yeah, that's the right term for it.
It's got a lot of flavor to it. I don't want to compare it to Booker's because
we only compared it to Booker's because of your uncut comments.
Right.
Yeah.
But there's some shades of
that peanutty flavor.
Same type of flavors in there. Yeah. We got some peanut on the nose. The same classic bourbon flavors in there.
The inspirations are there in both.
Yes.
Both labels.
I think you could tell they're within the same family.
Yeah.
But I'm for a, $20 or sub $20 bourbon. I think it's one to pick up, and I'm really glad it's not a distillery exclusive anymore.
Yep. So, I mean, otherwise, until we make our pilgrimage out to Kentucky,
yes,
we'd never see it.
Exactly. Are we ready for the banner?
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like I finally got it back.
I got to tell you, that was the best one that you've done in at least 2 months.
Yes. So I feel like
You got your mojo back.
I feel like I got my mojo back.
How Red got his groove back.
Yes. I got drunk.
Is that how Stella got her groove back?
Yeah, but there was also... If you liked what you saw here today, comment down below. Let us know. If you have any suggestions, anything you want to see us try, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Follow us on Instagram @WorthTheDram. Follow us on Facebook. And
@WorthTheDram.
@WorthTheDram.
Yep. We keep it clean.
We do keep it clean.
And anyway, however you like your whiskey, that's the right way.